But let's start off with a Tottenham update, and we're going to start off talking about that kit launch. You saw us making all those wedding jokes before, and it'll become evident why. I'm sure you all know about it already. But yeah, Spurs said there was going to be a club announcement today, and there definitely was. Maybe some people were suspecting it to be an announcement on the manager. Maybe you thought that we're going to, see what's going on with the future of this football club going into next season. And we definitely do, because we know what our new kit's going to be, even though we kind of known that for a pretty long time. But let's get into the social media and see how they announced it. I thought it was a very peculiar announcement, to be honest. Really peculiar. So let's go and see how they did announce on social media. And here it goes. Introducing new 25-26 home kit available now exclusively at Tottenham, which is kind of a lie, because I did see online a few days ago that JD Sports had already been selling it. So it's not really exclusive at Tottenham. But this is the new kit. I just don't get this whole why they're like kind of announcing it like it's a marriage, this new kit.
Because they want to get all the loyal supporters to buy in again. With all the uncertainty,
it's so
we
cringy.
don't know where it's going to lead, and they want to make sure that we're committed to this club. So we have to take a vow.
It's
we
really
have to sign the contract.
Haven't we
prenups?
Didn't we take a vow many years ago? Like, why is it now we need to take a vow?
We're not taking half of what they own if it goes wrong. All right, they're going to take half of what we own. Yeah. That's for sure. Even if it goes wrong,
then some.
And then some. They're taking all of what we own. But yeah, we took the vow a long time ago. The vow of Tottenham.
Yeah. If you scroll up, you'll see there's Lucas Bergvall as front and center of the shoot. If you scroll across, if you go onto that tweet there with Lucas Bergvall, and if you hover over it, you'll see a button that you can scroll across. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's Mickey Van. How good does Mickey look in that
Mickey
kit?
Mickey always makes kits look good. I have to say, it does look like a training kit.
Yeah,
it does. I'm not a big one about complaining or being happy about kits and all this kind of stuff. New kits don't really move me that much, but that looks like a training kit to me. If they announced a new training kit and that was it, you wouldn't be shocked. You'd be like, that's a training kit. And that's what it looks like.
To be honest with you, I like when they announce new kits, and I love the history of kits and all that kind of stuff. But I find it hard to even dislike, or even care so much about this kit when there's so much uncertainty around the club. It's like they make this whole big announcement about this kit. We don't even know who our manager's going to be next season. It's just a bit ridiculous, to be honest.
God forbid we let future decisions about the footballing side of this football club get in the way of a good kit announcement.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing right now, is getting that kit out there, getting some more money, getting people hyped for the new kit, rather than knowing who the hell our manager's going to be, rather than seeing and watching other clubs make signings. We'll get into that later, but it's very frustrating at the moment being a Tottenham fan, because we should be absolutely buzzing, looking forward to the new season. But how can we when there's all this uncertainty and there's radio silence from the hierarchy? And yes, we've got a new kit. Whoop de bloody do. How about decide what you're going to do with the manager?
Exactly.
How about sort that out?
100%. Couldn't agree more. And I was one that kept saying, stop moaning, everyone, and we just won a European competition. But they really are sucking the life out of this celebration, aren't they?
Well, look, we're 2 weeks gone. I know it's still not that far gone from the final, but we're 10 days after the season. Like, great, announce the kit, but how about we deal with serious business here?
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Right, whatever, announce the kit, but all this hype and everything, and how can we get hype for a new season when half these players are probably going to be pissed off at the moment as well? It's just a very frustrating situation.
Yeah. You scroll up, a special delivery to Mickey. So they go through Tottenham with the new kit box, blah, 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 go through the room. And there's Mickey there to receive his brand new kit. He looks absolutely delighted about it.
Yeah.
I tell you the truth, though, when I first saw the pictures of this kit, like over the last couple of weeks or couple of months, I much prefer it here, like seeing it on the players, than I did, a few weeks ago when I just saw the mock-ups.
Well, Bergvall's basically a model, so you can make anything look good.
I guess they're all, yeah. And then if you scroll up, there's Sonny donning the new kit. Everyone was waiting. Where's Sonny? Why is he not
it's
in the
true.
announcement?
I was wondering why he wasn't front and centre. Him with the Europa League trophy in that kit. Come on.
But there he is.
Big up Sonny. See, I don't know. It just looks a bit meh to me. When I look at it there, I know Sonny makes many kits look good, but I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, doesn't look that nice.
And then you got the unboxing of the shirt as well, which is such interesting stuff. How I was praying to see an unboxing of a shirt when I woke up this morning.
You can have it all for the price of £125.
But you could get the cheaper version for £85.
Yeah,
Don't forget about that.
No, cool. Yeah, that's cheaper version apparently. That's the cheaper version.
Made out of paper apparently.
Great material. I don't know what material it is.
Yeah. And then if you scroll up, there's some more pictures of Mickey in the kit. Is it any surprise that no sign of Romero in this kit launch?
Don't think so. No sign of Ange.
No sign of Ange.
Everyone was hoping he was going to end. They were going to end the video of Ange having season 3 is better than season 2 on the back of his shirt. Well, didn't quite happen.
Yeah, but look, that's it for the kit launch. That is our new home shirt going into the next season. The main thing I don't like about it is the crest and the Nike tick in the middle. It's just like pointless, to be honest.
Crest in the middle, is that an homage to the 80s? We used to have a crest in the middle, didn't we?
Yeah, and I just don't like them. I just much prefer the crest should be where the heart is. That's where it should be on a football shirt.
If I'm getting the new kit, I want to get the Europa League winners badge on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I want.
Europa League winners badge on one side and Champions League badge on the other side.
Exactly.
But we did get a confirmed announcement yesterday from the club as well regarding Ryan Mason. They say our assistant coach has left the club and taken up a head coach role at West Bromwich Albion. Thank you for everything, Ryan. Sammy Mockbell also says that Tottenham Academy coach Stuart Lewis could join Ryan Mason as his part of the coaching staff at West Brom. And yeah, it's quite a moment for Ryan Mason. You know, the guy has, all he's known is Tottenham his whole career, from a young boy coming through the academy, playing for Tottenham, you know, the injury that unfortunately ended his career, and then come back to Tottenham in a coaching role and been there ever since, obviously. Stand-in manager at a time, took us through a cup final. He's been there his whole career, his whole life has been Tottenham Hotspur. So it'd be good for him to get out of that environment and start to make a name for himself in the managerial world.
Yeah, and obviously winning that Europa League, being part of the coaching staff that did it, would be is a good time to leave, and it's a good time to basically say, all right, I've done this, and now it's time to chart my own course as a manager. And there's been a lot of rumours over the last couple of years about him doing that, but West Brom's a good job. And it's a different direction West Brom are going in, because West Brom usually go for tried and tested kind of managers, experienced managers. So it's a bit of a risk on their part to go for a manager who's not got that much experience, apart from a few Premier League games as an interim. He doesn't have that much experience managing, like, as part of knowing he's going to be the full-time manager. He's never done that before. So doing that at a club like West Brom, we've got expectations next season of probably being in the playoffs or pushing for promotion, I'm sure. He's going to be under scrutiny, I think, straight away, probably at that club. So it's a big decision for West Brom to choose him, and it's a big decision for Mason to choose that kind of job. But I'm very intrigued to see how he goes, and good luck to him. And he's going to have the experience of being a coach under a lot of very good managers at Tottenham Hotspur, albeit some of them didn't do too well, but he would have taken a lot of things from all these kind of different managers. And I'm very excited to see how he gets on, and it'll be interesting if he does really well and gets promotion or something. It'll be interesting to see if maybe Premier League clubs start calling for him, or even maybe down the line, could the Tottenham job be there for him if he does, if he charts his course? And
100%.
You get the feeling like if Tottenham ever do come calling, it'll be hard for him to ever say no.
Yeah.
So very good luck to him. We'll keep an eye on West Brom. Hopefully we send some players his way and he'll know how to use them. And yeah, I'm really, really intrigued to see how he gets on.
Yeah, 100%. So good luck to Ryan Mason. We wish you all the best in your future endeavours and definitely your role at West Brom. And we'll be taking a keen and close eye on you this season. And hopefully you do well at the club. And if he does do well, like you say, there's definitely a pathway back to Tottenham Hotspur for sure. The club will be very much looking closely at Ryan Mason and how he develops as a manager. And how many managers could West Brom get the chance of getting this summer, saying that they've gone toe-to-toe with Pep Guardiola at Wembley and gone all the way. You know, it was the last 10-minute goal, wasn't it, from Man City to win that cup final. So,
yeah, fair play. And he's got a lot of experience under a lot of good coaches. So hopefully he can really absorb all of that. And we've seen right now, I know it's different level, but, you know, we've seen other managers who have similar kind of experience under a lot of good coaches like Alonso and Fabregas, and they really just take all these ideas and have become very good managers. So let's see if Mason can do something similar.
Yeah, I would have thought like Mason's probably biggest influence would have been Pochettino. But then you've got all the other managers like kind of sprinkled in there as well. So definitely a good footballing education Ryan Mason has had. But let's move on and let's talk about potential transfers. The Mail are reporting that Everton are telling suitors that Jared Branthwaite is not for sale this summer. However, Tottenham are expected to test the waters, but right now their priority is deciding the future of manager Ange Postecoglou. I mean, how long does it take to decide the future of our manager? First of all, Ange Postecoglou, and second of all, it's going to take a humongous bid to get Jared Branthwaite out of Everton.
Yeah, I highly doubt we're going to spend the money required to get him. As well, let's say Man United or Chelsea come in for him, he kind of slots straight into that team, doesn't he? For us, you got Van der Ven in the way. So I'm not saying he wouldn't get significant game time, especially with Champions League football, but at Man United or Chelsea is like going to be their starting centre back for 100%. Like he comes in as probably their best centre back, or arguably, or one of the better ones. And for us, it's like you have to compete with Van der Ven, and it's going to be a battle for you to get minutes. And also for us, are we really going to drop 70, 80, 70 million so on a defender who's not sure if he's going to be back up or whatever? I just can't see us doing it. Obviously, I'd love us to do it, and I think it would be a statement of intent to get someone like Branthwaite and show, okay, we're serious about building a squad which is full of quality, and that when you take a defender out, there's not this big drop in quality like there has been in the past couple of years. But just knowing this club, I just highly doubt we're going to do that.
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, it's hard to even talk about transfers right now when we just don't know what the hell is going on at this football club. It's just like silent days on end. The only thing that we hear from them is a kit announcement launch when everyone's just desperate to know who the manager's going to be next season. I think it's just driving everyone up the wall at the moment. And like we said before, it's just like evaporating all the good feeling that has been in the fan base after the Europa League final win.
Yeah. Transfer talk is it's fun to talk about, but at the moment it's like, what is the use when we don't know? You can't really make transfer decisions while we don't know who the manager's going to be. And no player, even if it's a club signing, what player is going to sit down and say, yeah, I'm going to commit to you when he might have other offers on the table? We can't even tell him who the manager's going to be right now.
Yeah.
So even from that front, it's just very frustrating.
Yeah. Let's talk about Matisse Tell now. There's been a couple of updates on Tell, and Florian Plettenberg says that Tottenham still want to keep Matisse Tell, and a new idea currently being discussed is another loan deal with a loan fee and a subsequent obligation to buy. Bayern still prefer a permanent sale. However, negotiations are ongoing and everything is still open. Max Erbel has been in intense talks with both Tottenham and Tell for weeks to find the best possible solution. And Christian Falk says that Tottenham and Bayern are locked in intense talks regarding the transfer of Matisse Tell. Bayern Munich's asking price is 30 to 33 million pounds and are not keen on sanctioning another loan with an obligation to buy. Do you see Spurs just slapping down 30, 35 million on the table, or do you think they're just going to keep pushing for that obligation to buy with a few clauses put in there?
It seems to me that all parties want this to be done. So when that usually happens, the deal does get done. So for me, I think however it looks, I think Tottenham are usually quite good at coming up with creative solutions to these kind of deals. And I think Bayern are happy to sell. We clearly want to keep him. We're convinced that he's good enough for us and he's set to be good going forward. Obviously, whether Ange's future has a say in Tell's future, we have to obviously remains to be seen, because Ange's the one who brought him, and he was obviously the one saying he's convinced, once he comes to Tottenham, everyone's going to see he's going to be a Tottenham player, this kind of stuff. And he's obviously been part of this Europa League winning squad, and the squad are very close, and the squad are very close behind the manager. So whether these two things are connected, if we change manager, is Tell going to be like, I don't know if I want to stay here or not. I don't know if there's anything to that, but it seems at the moment all arrows point in the direction that he wants to join. We want to sign him. Bayern are happy to let him go. And it's all about ironing out the figures and the numbers and see if they work for everyone. And it seems as though I don't think a 30 million. If it's 30 million, I don't think that's going to be the stumbling block. It's going to be how it's paid and all this kind of stuff, or trying to get that down as much as possible. But I think that'll be a figure that Tottenham will be fine with, I think.
Yeah, I do kind of agree, but I'm just looking at the makeup of the squad for next season and the wing options. Let's say we sign, for argument's sake, let's say we do sign a Tell and a Sane. Is that good enough to go into next season with? You're looking at Tell and Sonny on the left with Odebear that can play both sides. Got Brennan and Sane on the right. Well, I guess Sane can play both sides as well, but is that good enough for you?
I mean, on the face of it, the evidence that we've seen, no. But, what you've got to be hopeful for is that Tell Odebear has a lot more game time and starts showing a different level. Obviously, if Brennan can continue his goal scoring, can continue to get as many goals as he's been getting, Sane adds a bit more quality on that side. You have Tell, hopefully, after 6 months settling in, hopefully he shows a better level next season as well. I mean, good enough for what, I guess, is the question.
Good enough for competing on all fronts, bringing another trophy home, finishing in the top 4, top 5 in the Premier League.
Is it good enough to be competing and trying to win a Champions League? No. Is it good enough to win a Premier League? No. Is it good enough to say we're favourites for that top 4 position? No. Is it good enough to put yourself in the conversation for top 6? I don't see why not.
I guess so, but I mean, you're looking at the business that other clubs are doing. Chelsea are only going to get stronger. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City out of the question. You're looking at Newcastle. They're going to get stronger this season. Probably going to buy more established players. And then you're looking at Manchester United, who are the team that we were competing with this season, beat them in the cup final. They've brought in Cunha. They've now brought in Mbeumo. It's been said by David Ornstein that Spurs were interested in Mbeumo, and he decided to join Manchester United, a team not in Europe, and we're the ones with Champions League football. It just seems like we should be going for these kind of targets, and Manchester United are getting the better of us in this transfer market by far, in my opinion. And it's just a kick in the teeth, because it just seems to always work out like this for Tottenham, right? We beat Liverpool 4-1 those times under Pochettino. We're the ones that regressed. They're the ones that kicked on. We beat Arsenal 3-0 in that Champions League playoff under Conte. We all thought we were going to kick on from there, and it's going to make a big difference for us. They're the one that kicked on. We're the ones that went backwards. And it just seems it's the same thing now.
That's the worry. And it seems that's obviously, look, we're only 2 weeks out. So, it's hard to say definitively, but 100% we're kind of dawdling over a manager, and other teams are getting serious business done. Serious business. 2 of the best players outside of the top 6 have been snapped up. And
it's like 40 goals between them.
And those are the players we should 100% have been looking at, or 100% have been serious about, and should have gone quickly and swooped in. Now, supposedly, those 2 have chosen Man United because they're Man United fans who are younger, and it's hard to compete with that. If they've chosen Man United because they want to join Man United rather than any footballing reason, there's not much you can do about it. So whether we would have got them anyway is hard to say. But it's on the face of it, we've won Europa League. We're now paralysed to make any sort of decisions when it comes to the manager, and on the consequence of that is we can't move quickly in the market. And the team that we've beaten in the final have swooped in, taken 2 of the best talents, gettable talents in the Premier League, and we don't know what we're doing at the moment, and we're falling behind in the market. They've swooped in on 2 players we should have been seriously interested in. And now who's left? We're going to have to be a lot more creative now in the market and go for deals which, obviously, in the past, sometimes people have said that these kind of deals have held them back. Obviously, we need to get Eze, essentially. If we miss out on Eze, where do we go in terms of Prem proven talent who's gettable? There's all of a sudden you're really running out.
All of a sudden, your best option is probably Noni Madueke. And I don't know if he's the right player to take us to really improve that front line.
Unless you can somehow convince West Ham to do some deals with you, but even then, that's going to be hard. But you're struggling. Can you do any deals?
Dibbling, that's where we're going to land on, isn't it?
Can you do deals with Brighton for Minter? How much is that going to cost you? Or Matoma? How much is that going to cost you? It's like it's just very difficult all of a sudden. Now these talents are getting swooped up by clubs who are much more on the money right now, or on the pulse. So, yeah. But look, that's not to take away from Tell. I do think this could be a very good deal and very good signing for us in the future. But it's hard to not overlook the fact that he's been in the Premier League for 6 months and he's obviously not shown anywhere near the level Cunha and Mbeumo have. And those two players are much more of a sure thing than Tellers, that's for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. And last but not least for this update, we've got some quotes from Pedro Porro, which were quite interesting. I think it was an interview with Sid Lowe today that's been coming out. And some of the quotes I've got here, it says, talking about Ange, and his says, him continuing would be a good for the dressing room. He's built a very good group and coaches need time. In the league, things didn't go well, but he makes you win a trophy. That's important too. The people in the dressing room with weight have to understand that. And then he was asked, hang on, do you mean that there's some players who don't understand that? And he says, no, it's simply just that we're inside. We know more or less how things are. No, I'm not going to lie. It did impact me to see people say they were going to sack him, to be honest. I'm very close to him. He's been an important coach for me, and it's thanks to him that I have brought out my best football in these 2 years. It's complicated because in football in general, things don't always depend on you. But honestly, in the team, I think, in my opinion, we're happy with him. And, that goes back to what Alistair Gold was saying a couple of days ago. There's a fear within the club. Sacking Ange Postecoglou could resolve in a backlash within the squad. And, that definitely aligns with what Pedro Porro is saying now.
Yeah, it's another player who's come out very strongly public. That's probably the strongest kind of sentiment we've heard surrounding Ange Postecoglou. And I don't like when people say, oh, it's not like he's going to say he hates the manager and stuff like that, which is true, but you don't have to come out that strongly. That's also true. When managers are not fancied by a lot of players, you don't have to say anything. You can say, I don't want to talk about it or whatever. You don't have to come out and say, I'm hurt by the talk of him being sacked and we all want to keep him and I'm really close with him, all that kind of thing. You don't say that if it's not true. Like you maybe say other things, but it doesn't like every manager gets that sort of backing from every player.
Yeah.
So I think it is significant, in my opinion, and that goes to show how much the players are behind him, and there's more evidence of that. Obviously, I do think, especially in the last couple of months, Porro's been brilliant, and I think he's been working with Ange in terms of maybe not trying to not get caught out as much as he has been, and staying back and using Porro more kind of like a Trent role where he uses his quality from deep with that passing ability. So I'm sure that Porro's been appreciating of that. And obviously we saw in the final, after he won it, Porro jumped on his back and they had that moment after winning the final in Bilbao. So look, the players have had their say. The club, we have to wait and hear for what they're going to do. But it seems as if the club are going to take what the players want into account, then they'll keep him. But clearly the club might want to go in a different direction.
Yeah, it's like how many times over the past years have we seen kind of player revolts and players knocking on the chairman's door saying we don't want this manager anymore.
Leaks, yeah.
And leaks and stuff coming out saying training's too hard, the training's too low, all this kind of stuff.
It's a bad atmosphere in the dressing room.
Yeah, all that.
We've heard a lot of that.
Loads. Over the years, we heard it under Conte, Mourinho, even at the back end of Poch, we heard these kind of stuff coming out.
Even at Nuno, I think.
Nuno. All these managers that have fallen by the wayside, we've heard these things about. Whereas Ange, all we're hearing is how much the players love him, how much the players are behind him, and how much they want him to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just beggars belief, like why we don't know the future of the manager right now. We're like, what is it, over 10 days after the final now. Levy's gone and come back from his holiday, and we still don't know what the hell is going on.
Mm-hmm. Have you got more quotes here? Because he said some more interesting stuff.
The only other one I got is him talking about the European trophy, and he says it's more than 40 years since a European trophy. People's reactions was lovely. When you get on the bus and go around London, you feel how important it is. You change families' lives. We had suffered too inside day by day. It's not that Spurs' season has been mostly awful or that they hadn't won in almost 2 decades. It was that they had become a kind of running joke, a meme. That's just like people's opinions, of course, that reaches you, but we don't care. Actually, in fact, I would say thanks to them, because it can be extra motivation, petrol to fuel you. And we won, let them talk and do all the memes they want now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and clearly, it's true. They've definitely shut up a lot. This group has been the one to shut up a lot of the people, a lot of the noise outside about never winning a trophy and trophyless, WeAre trophy, all these different things. Now I love it. It's moved over to Arsenal. I've seen on social media. Now every time Tottenham used to tweet something, it's like WeAre trophy, and now it's Arsenal have been the ones because they're nearly 5 years without a trophy. Now it's WeAre trophy for them, which is fun to see. But
don't you love how the narrative has completely switched between Tottenham and Arsenal fans? Because back when we had Pochettino and we were finishing second and third and losing in semi-finals and finals and whatever, all Arsenal fans used to say it means absolutely nothing without a trophy, and that means absolutely nothing without a trophy. And now they're just like, oh, wouldn't you prefer to be in our position? Like, that's all they're saying right now. Wouldn't you prefer to be in our position than your position? Blah, blah, blah. And now they're like, oh, but that trophy means absolutely nothing. Like, what? Like, we're in a much better position than you. Like, but we were saying, but this is exactly what we were saying to you under Pochettino, and you're completely the other side of it.
They don't have a leg to stand on.
It's madness.
They don't have a leg to stand on. What's quite interesting as well is he was talking about the form in the Premier League compared to the Europa League. He said the coach wanted to compete in both competitions because he's a winner. But when you have a clear idea that you can do something big, you're focused more on one thing than the other. We know that through the Premier League, it was impossible to reach Europe, and that the only option and the only objective was to win the Europa League. In the Europa League, different demands are made of you. You have focus on pressing better, defending better. You saw it. 3 clean sheets in the last 3 games. Don't let in goals, and we have a dynamite up front. We said if we keep a clean sheet, we had a good chance. And then Sid Lowe asked him, but that doesn't sound like Ange ball. And he was altering his approach. He says, well, look at the final. I say to everyone, people can tell the story of that game anywhere they like. What matters in the end is that you win. People say we didn't have a shot on goal. What does it matter? Football is like that. Sometimes you have 50 shots on goal and you don't score, and others one is enough. That's called effectiveness. And then had a couple of pot shots at Arsene Wenger and Tim Sherwood as well, because Wenger said they should be Champions League, and Sherwood obviously called out Porro on his debut, and he had a few pot shots at them. But in terms of that, obviously that was clearly defeat. That's what Ange has been saying about how they went for that Europa League once anything in the league had disappeared. And clearly the players also believed that as well. That was the sentiment in the dressing room, it seems.
The players would have definitely bought into it, no doubt about it. Like, the players were finding it hard to motivate themselves for the Premier League game for a long time, because when you know you're not going to get relegated, when you know there's not much further up the table that you can go, like, what is there to motivate you to play these Premier League games? And we were saying at the time, you're wearing the badge, you should always be motivated. But it's not them going out and just trying to throw the game. It's a subconscious thing. Like, you go out there, but it's more or less just a training regime.
Yeah, and how many times do you see it at other clubs? Well,
you've seen Liverpool at the end of the season after the title's won. They barely won a game. Arsenal, once the title was lost, they've been terrible. I mean, they've been pretty terrible for a while. But, it's been like, it goes like that with any team.
That's why it's always an advantage to play teams who are about to play in Europe, all these kind of stuff or whatever, because their mind's on something bigger or something else, unless they've got obviously something to fight for in the Premier League. But we didn't. Our Premier League campaign was dead. We had all our eggs in that basket, and not only were we it's hard to motivate the team, but also we're playing our second team on top of that, so we're playing like an unmotivated second team essentially, which, look, it's not great. I'm not going to sit and say I'm happy about it, but that's just reality of the situation. And but the thing is, we did go that extra step in the Europa League. Like, we put all our focus on it, and we won it. It's not like it was for no reason. Like, there was a clear objective there, and we really believed if we did that, we were going to take this trophy and win a major European trophy and get back in the Champions League. And it worked, and we did it. Like, it wasn't as if it was a plan that was a stupid plan. It worked, and for whatever you want to say about it, I think that was the right call to do.
Yeah, I agree. And as much as it was painful watching it week in, week out in the Premier League, by the end of it, you know, we're happy because we take home the trophy. You look at the interviews with players surrounding the whole season, even before the league campaign went to shit. You know, Maddison came out and said it. Ange has been out and said it, talking about bringing home a trophy to this football club and what it would mean to everyone at the club and what it would mean to everyone inside and outside of the club. And you can see the parade, you could see what it meant to us in Bilbao, how many fans we took to Bilbao and everything like that. Like the aim of this season, whatever you want to say at the beginning, was the sole aim, not the sole aim, but the priority aim was to bring back a trophy. Mm-hmm. And we've done that.
Yeah, I think, and if you asked any Tottenham fan at the beginning of the season, what should be the priority this season, I'm pretty sure most would have said that Europa League.
Yeah,
most people would have said, well, I think we should win that Europa League. Put all the eggs in that Europa League basket. Really, in fact, if you, I don't know, look, this is just off memory, but I'm pretty sure we did a call-in show, and everyone said, I think we should go really hard for that Europa League. I'm pretty sure most people were saying that at the beginning of the season. Yeah. Now, obviously, 17th is not what we expected in the league, and it's an unacceptable league position, no doubt about it, and we all understand that. But that is what we wanted. We wanted that Europa League. We weren't obviously top 4 would have been great as well, or top 5, and a respectable league position,
or even top 10.
Whatever, top 10 would have been great as well. But everyone wanted that Europa. That is what we wanted at the beginning of the season. So, especially once that league season had gone, and putting all the eggs in that basket was 100%. I think what the fans should have wanted.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I think that, you know, there's still a very good case for fans that are very angry with the league campaign finishing 17th. It's obviously very, very, you know, it's completely right for these fans to feel that the way that they do with finishing 17th in the league. But you have to look at everything that's gone through the season. And when you finish it with a European title, then you just got to kind of just take it as it is and just be happy of how we've been able to achieve such success in such a turbulent season as well. So look, what more can we say on it but that we're European champions, hasn't come without any failures in the league, because the failure has been has been completely unacceptable. But I think it buys him more time. It's not going to buy him more time, but I think it should buy him more time. And when you're looking at the reactions of players coming out in support of Ange Postecoglou, that should also buy him more time.
There's just been some more updates I'm seeing about, well, The Athletic are reporting Ange will focus on recruiting experience should he remain as Tottenham coach. He says Spurs made an inquiry for Johan Wissa in January, but Brentford were unwilling to sell him mid-season. The forward now only had a year remaining on his contract, although Brentford had the option to extend it by a further 12 months.
Yeah, I read this article this morning. It's actually, there's no like concrete news on it saying that Spurs are still interested. It's just going over what we did in January, and we made a bid for Wissa, and they're not even saying we could go in again.
But I mean, talking about Wissa and Dibbling and Angel Gomez after winning a Europa League and getting to that Champions League, it's not great, is it?
No, not great at all. When has getting Champions League football ever kicked this football club on? Ever? Tell me. I don't think it ever has.
When has it ever kicked us on? I guess you could say, I mean, I guess it wasn't the fact that we got Champions League football, but I guess getting Champions League football did kick us on under Poch, but we didn't. I mean, in terms of in the transfer market, I guess you can't really say it did.